All right, welcome to Truth Be Told. I'm Tony Sweet. Guess who we have here?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, right. Captain Ron is here, and we are excited because it's our Halloween show.
That's right.
And we, I can't believe a year has gone by, and but we have one of our favorite good witches with us, and psychic medium, and her name is Patti Negri, and she is one of those psychics that you've seen her pretty much on every show you can think of, and she was a former dancer and actress. And she's kind of combined the two and made herself one of the very well-known psychic mediums in Hollywood. You might know her from Ghost Adventures. She is a kind of a special guest here and there. And so, Patti, welcome to Truth Be Told.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yay!
I love it.
Well, first off,
Yeah, I was told that on the way over here, Tony said, I have a witch coming in today.
Yeah.
I was told I was going to see the hat and the broom and the whole 9 yards, but
Man.
not that I was disappointed to see you. I was shortchanged there, Tony. I think you was
I'm sorry.
misinformed.
They're in a car.
So why don't you tell me and our audience, tell us what does it mean to be a witch?
Okay, to be a witch, it means a lot of things. Very little of what people think it means to be on television. Number one, to be a witch is not necessarily a religion. It can be. Wicca is a religion. Traditional British craft is a religion. Strega, Italian witch, is a religion. There's ceremonial magicians. There's chaos witches. And it can be a belief system. But more than anything, it's a practice. It's a practice like a shaman would be a shaman. What we do believe as a witch or a practice of witchcraft means we believe we can change fate, whether it's spell working or ritual, that it's not always the path of least resistance that fate takes. A little bit kind of like New Age thought, but a little just older, deeper, grittier in that's how we change fate. So it's a practice of taking our own life into our own hands and therefore the responsibility thereof. You can be all sorts of different religions and practice witchcraft, or you could see it as a belief system in itself.
And when did that? Because I know we always here in America, especially, the witch trials of Salem. When did witches really become in existence, or when did that word come in existence? Do you know?
I don't know about the word, but they've been around forever. I mean, they were the handmaiden and who give you herbs in the forest and whatever. Same thing with the witches of Salem. It's just the old world religion, the pagan religion, pre-Christianity. Christianity actually picked up on every single pagan tradition. That's a whole other subject, I'm sure. But Easter is our Ostara, Christmas is Yule. Every single major holiday of Christianity, like eggs and Easter bunnies have nothing to do with Christ rising. That's
Right.
the pagan festival. Christmas trees of pine have nothing to do with Jesus in the desert. It's the pagan. They just like to combine their religion, which is fine. I mean, just borrow it to get.
And you consider this
converts.
pagan thing, this shamanistic thing, is like a pagan? Would you consider witchcraft part of paganism?
Yes, usually it is. Well, yes, usually it is because again, the practice, not necessarily, but the religion. It usually is a multi-deity. It's not just one big male god. You might believe in the goddess or Mother Nature or just kind of have a lot of deity in there. Again, whether it's just the mythos of it or the belief working with or even worship of.
Certainly not one female god. I hope that's not what you're Okay,
No,
just making
no.
sure.
I don't even take it down to even gender. I'm an energy person. I see energy. I have since I was this little bitty kid. So again, to me, religion, belief system is more of a template. If you want to use the word, if you're the one you're comfortable with and you're raised with your basic Christian, your basic Jewish, your basic Islam, Buddha, it's all fine. Again, it's your roadmap, how you work it in, how you work it out.
You said you could control fate or whatever. Does that mean in your own life? Are you able to affect other people?
Well, that's
way?
the difference in a good witch and a bad witch.
I was gonna ask the difference. What's the difference?
Yeah, the difference, again, people use white witch, black, but I don't like, that's just a weird word. I'm a good witch because that can mean a lot of things. Yes, if I'm doing a spell working for someone, if somebody wants, I would only do it on me or them with their permission. If somebody wants a love spell, say they want a love spell in general, bring me the love of their life. I could help do that. What do you want? What kind of attributes? You want a sense of humor, curly hair, whatever. We work energy, we work the universe with elements and whatever to do that. If you want a love spell on a specific person, I want it on Bob, that's black magic. unless you have Bob's permission, which you probably don't. Because then anyways,
Bob
let's
don't
just
even
go
know who
out.
she
We
is,
don't
yeah.
need this magic. Yeah. So again, controlling anybody else, manipulating anybody else is just a way oversimplification, but basic the difference of what it is.
So controlling somebody else without their knowledge is the
bad.
bad. But
Is
if you
bad.
if he came to you and asked for help,
Yes.
then that's the good thing.
Yes.
So,
It-
so
but-
you would
but
only
help-
affect him, not.
It would only help affect him.
I see.
Or again, if he wants, health in general, a new job in general, love in general, that's great. But if you're manipulating anything or anybody without their permission, that's when you're getting into. We don't use the word karma, but it's kickback. It's
I got
coin
you.
to pay.
Okay, now this is truth be told, after all. So this is what I want to get to here. That's a great explanation. Can you give me one solid example of that you've done this with somebody that it helped them and it worked?
Oh, kabillions. And that's a
give
big
us- give us like a-
of one
an-
somebody of a sample. Again, I believe the secret to life is mind, body, spirit connection. I believe that because there's 200,000 books written on it. The whole
Right.
self-help section, the psychology section, the spiritual section. We understand mind will never surpass our own thought pattern. Body, we have to take action. I'm going to eat healthy. I won't go to Jack in the Box. But the spirit is the more elusive. That can be prayer, affirmation, spell working, vision boards, but it's a little more elusive. But you've got to have the head in. That's why I like doing magic. So I had so many people we were actually talking about think they're cursed in love, cursed in whatever. 99.9% of the time, they've created that. Just maybe a little bad luck or their thought processes, because this is everything, will never surpass their head. So it's changing that thought pattern, number one, then taking action with their literal body thought process, and then doing a little bit of magic along the way. So so many people, I always pick the wrong guy. We'll look at why they always pick the wrong guy. Okay, because when you were 4 years old, your daddy said this, and you thought that that's what love was. I mean, I'll go there. That's the psychic side of myself. The medium side might take them there. And your great-grandma says men are shit, But again, the spell working is to change the literal energy there within, whether I'm burning herbs or oils, or we're doing it under a full moon to cause a power, waning moon to get little when you let go of things, the waxing moon to add on. It's just tapping into nature's power.
So it's a little bit of spiritual psychology.
It's very much spiritual psychology with a little bit of fairy dust thrown
Right.
in. Yeah.
And
Do you
have
know one case of somebody you helped like that?
Oh yeah, one case. Yes, there was a girl who she educated, like a million people now, really educated, good schools, all that, smart, great personality, but could not get a job that was not 100 years below her. It just, she can get a job anywhere.
Know the feeling.
I know the feeling. But and she would try, and she'd send a resume, and she'd go on jobs. We literally did this working. We put this thing together. What is your dream job? You have to see it here. What is your dream job? What does it look like? What does it pay? And then the second you get it, that you can smell it, that you can taste it, that you can feel it, that you imagine waking up in the morning and I have to go to this dream job, guess what? It appears. Again, whether we've burnt some herbs on it or we've done a little puppet doll or whatever that is. Anyway, she got a better job than she ever could have. She got to move to the exact city she wanted to move.
Where was she a year ago, Tony? I mean, I don't understand why.
And all of it, it's easy as you allow it to be,
Wow.
or it's hard as you make it. We tend to make things hard. Somebody told us way back when that you work hard and it's going to be more worth it. Yes, work hard, but you don't. That's not a given that it has to be.
It's interesting that even witchcraft, as you're describing, it sounds like it kind of boils down to the stuff we've talked about, like with The Secret or with some of these other guys on how it's really just the power of, self-intention.
And I think it's almost like through whatever ritual or herbs or whatever you're giving them permission too.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think, and that's why I said the spiritual side of it and the psychology, because most people, there's such a disbelief, and I go through that myself. We go through that, everybody else is, they have
course.
this, and I should be in it. And I mean, we all go through it, but when somebody believes in you or gives you that power, and sometimes it's in a couch in a psychology office, or somebody
or sitting around a bonfire under a full moon.
Yeah.
And it's similar, but again, I like props sort of thing.
Right.
It's like, why wash dishes by hand if you have a dishwasher? If I have some eye of newt or some dragon's blood oil, and I have the stuff with the real attributes within it,
Right.
they're just going to be.
Where
a
does she get
kickstarter.
dragon's blood, by the way?
Everywhere,
Okay.
everywhere. Dragon's blood.
Yeah, you squeeze it from a dragon.
I have newts a little tougher.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I'm vegetarian. No, I'm not vegetarian. Not really.
Hey, okay, so now we know what a witch is and what witchcraft is. Why don't you tell us now a little bit about the Halloween thing, since we're on the coming up on Halloween?
Yes, Halloween is really Samhain. It's the pagan New Year. It is literally the day when the veil is thinnest between the worlds. That is why kids dress up. That is why they came over from Europe putting on scary masks to scare away the dark spirits that people can see on that day, on that time of year. That's why they would put a jack-o'-lantern outside their house, which in Europe was a turnip, and here it's a pumpkin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the turnip, carved turnips.
How lame.
Thank God it changed.
Seems so much more lame, doesn't it?
I know.
It does.
Trying to carve a turnip.
Go buy your turnip. Yeah, it would be much harder. But that's exactly why, because again, people were a lot more aware than maybe people are now of the seas and see things going on. So it became actually the beautiful side of it. It's a time we actually celebrate the dead. I'm going to a big ritual Saturday, a couple of them, where you bring pictures of your ancestors. We're calling it out around a bonfire. You're crossing over those who maybe haven't crossed over. It's amazing, and you see them, you feel them, you sense them, you honor them. Just like, and every culture has a version of it, almost like Dia de los Muertos, the whole Mexican thing. It's all that celebration of the dead, because the veil between the worlds.
Why is it so thin this time of year? Is it the time of the year?
I don't know what the reasoning, if it's planetary, if it's lunar, but it's actually 2 times a year. But this is the dark side one. Also May Day, which is Beltane in the pagan calendar. May Day, dance around maypoles. But that's a time of fertility and sex in the bushes and all sorts of bright, colorful things. Because, again, take everything back to early man. It's very based on seasons. It's based on farming and all that kind of stuff. Spring is going in. We're going to do this. At the dark time is when you go underground, and some people don't make it, and you have to store your food. Again, and why the veil is thin those 2 times, I'm sure there's an answer to it, but I don't have it. But the fairies hold up the veil in May Day, if you want to, but it goes into the dark time under the mound for Hallows.
And why does some religions think that it's an evil time of year instead of like the way we see it as celebration?
I think that was just a control thing that was brought in several centuries ago, without getting into specific religions. Again, about controlling people. If you give people responsibility for themselves, celebrating the dead, they wanted to give them an idea. Well, heaven is this. Suffer here on earth, but in heaven you're going to have golden streets. In heaven you're going to live this beautiful life. But you have to follow us now. Believe what we say now. This is taking away that power. Go talk to your dead grandpa. Let him, because you can.
Right,
you can.
right.
I do it every day and get the real scoop, not with some big leader standing over you who wants you to, give him 10%. Truly, I think. But it's dark time. Only it's a contemplation time, and it is literally dark moon time. But I don't know why they do that. I think it's just control. And why they think it's evil, they turned, again, like the pagan horn
Who does
god.
the religions? You're saying?
Religions. Like they created their Satan devil out of the horn god. It's just, if you look at the juxtapositions of it's just goofy. It's just control. It's just control.
Yeah, and I remember one time interviewing a priest from the Church of Satan, and I was excited because I've never interviewed anybody like that, and at the time the co-host didn't want to come because he was scared, and I was like, but he was one of the nicest, and he says it's nothing like what you see on television, the Hollywood version. They raise money for homeless. They don't allow anybody into the church 18 and under. It's everybody, they choose, we don't force. So I was really impressed with that. Do you also get people that, hit back at you saying that you're sending people to hell and
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, we're in Los Angeles. We're pretty open.
Here.
Both
I'll say
know
like
that.
here, I'm sure.
But
yeah,
I do.
here we're good.
I just got back from 4 days in Dallas, Texas, where
How'd
they have
that
the
go?
biggest church I've ever seen. They haven't, hung me from
You're still here?
anything. Yeah, I'm still here, and I've been doing that every year for 5 years. There
Mm-hmm.
is community because the veil is thinning. Not just this. Where in general, the veil is getting thinner as we
Mm-hmm.
move into that age of Aquarius they sang about in the 60s. There's less solid ground. There's less. It's not our parents, black and white, right and wrong, yes
Right.
and no world. It's like it's getting liquid. And some religion, I wish they would, is not keeping up with people, with the need, with science, with
Right.
the change of everything, the energy going on. And so people are looking elsewhere. So, I even see some Christian churches, whether both a little bit New Thought Catholic and Protestant, and some other religions popping up that is kind of embracing it, which is great because not everybody wants to dance around a bonfire. Some people like to go to church on Sunday morning and be told what to do, and that's great. But
She slips in there and be told what to do. I love
I
that.
do be told what to do. I don't want anybody to ever tell me what to do.
Right. Is that part of the whole mantra of the witch thing? Is that do your own thing and not?
Well, not really. I mean, if you want to oversimplify the Wiccan read, it's do it thou will and harm none, or whatever you put out, you get back 3 times. But again, that's oversimplification. No, I think more than not being told what to do, it's giving away your responsibility. To somebody else who's going to forgive me. Somebody, it's okay. I can go be a mass murderer, but either 3 Hail Marys or I've been saved makes it okay. Not so much. Not that you believe you can't be forgiven for something, but it's a change in you, not because of what somebody else tells you. In my belief system.
Now you said that you like props, and I can't help but notice on the camera here that you have this young lady sitting right next to you. Maybe you could tell us who or
She's
what this
staring
item
right
is.
at me.
Looking right at Tony in a very precarious way.
This is Belle, the 103-year-old haunted doll.
103.
This is a haunted doll.
This is a very haunted doll. She's German.
Sprechen die Deutsch?
She does. I don't, but she does. She was sent to me by a girl in Belgium. She saw me, I think, on Ghost Adventures. She knew I was a doll collector. She saw me do a séance on Ghost Adventures with a really haunted doll, Peggy the doll, who had given 2 people heart attacks, 80 people. Oh, get close up on doll. Documented really bad illness. And so we were doing a séance with that. So she had Belle for like 3 years, and she had a little toddler, which you have to be careful with kids and spirits and stuff. And Belle made her hair fall out. Belle made her ill. Belle ran around her house all the time. So she packed her up and sent her to me.
She's like, you can have her.
You can have her. Knowing I could handle it. Again, I am trained. I study every day, every week of my life in occult sciences, paranormal sciences, metaphysics, religions. But I could talk to you any deity, god, demon in any language and how to do about it. So I just, the second we got her, what was funny about opening her, to be completely off subject, I opened her with a girlfriend who came over next door. We opened this doll. She was so packed. It took 45 minutes. And I have a good following, not that good a following. We got 50,000 views.
Oh, you had it live.
I had a lot. Yeah, it was a Facebook Live.
Wow.
Which I'd never done before.
Facebook Live, and you opened this doll. Did you know this was coming?
No, I didn't. I didn't announce it in advance. 50,000, but I found out why. Not because of me, not because of Belle, because it was unwrapping a package. That's a thing.
Really?
That's a thing.
Well, let's try it, Tony.
Unwrap,
Truth be told,
there's people who
unwrap.
just go open
It's a
boxes.
pencil.
Look into it. I don't know what it is. I've never got that many since. But she had a real dark spirit in her. She really did at first. But we
Now,
got
how do you know this? That's what I want to know.
Because I saw it, I felt it, I talked to it.
Oh, you did. So
I
when you opened
see-
the doll, you immediately said,
Yeah, okay.
This doll
this
is
would be
haunted.
bad. This could make my
Wow.
me sick, my husband sick, my dog, my kitty sick. This could
Wow.
cause chaos in my home. But we got rid of that. We just banished that really fast. And then inside is this beautiful little girl, mischievous as hell. I had to used to keep a little Dixie cup of rue, the herb rue, because that's really protective with her. Rue in her little hand all the time so she didn't drain people's energy. If you sat next to her with a cell phone, your cell phone would go dead immediately. When you're working with cameras or TV, she's been on a couple TV things. This is her first podcast. This is her first.
Well, we're honored.
Yes, she's very happy. But she would just drain your
She looks like she's
energy.
smiling.
And my friend Sheena Metal, I don't know if you know
Oh, yeah,
her,
yeah.
Sheena Metal, who actually has some heart issues. She would cause heart palpitations, but her and Sheena fell in love. We actually
Aw.
do a little Facebook Live together called We Live with the Dead, the positive side of hot objects. But I had to keep them separated for a while because she got heart palpitations.
You're attributing all these human characteristics to this doll.
Yeah.
You were saying before that spirits go into a doll. Is that what you're really talking about?
Yes.
A spirit that's inside this doll?
This
Do you
is
know
just
who
the
the
shell.
spirit is?
Because it does sound even. It sounds harder to accept that you're just talking to this doll. But now you're saying that there's
no,
actually.
it is a spirit within the doll. This
see.
is just like there's a spirit within this skull. A fetish, yes, there
May I
is.
show this to
Yes,
Should
of
have asked
course.
permission.
There's also a
first.
gold
it's
skull
okay.
sitting right here,
You know, it's a season.
and you can put something inside of here like a spirit, for example.
Yes, you can, or call one in, or a deity, or whatever you want to do. Again, dolls and skulls, because they have eyes and they're easy to communicate with. We could do it with a lump of coal, I suppose, but it's all of a sudden this has movement.
Right.
Actually, her eyes move all the time. You
No, a
catch
second
it on
ago, I'm
camera.
like, she looked like she was smiling more
Yeah,
than she
she-
was. I'm like, that's kind of freaking me out.
This is a 103-year-old porcelain face, but it moves. It can't literally move.
Right.
Sorry about that. Can't literally move, but it moves all the time. People walk in, not people in our world or any awareness world. They go, "Ooh, Belle's happy today," or "Ooh, Belle's cranky today," or "Ooh, Belle's mischievous." Everyone can see it across the board. I haven't told them what the last guy said, and I have people in my house all day long. So she's happy as a camper now.
No, I can say. I was like, I think she's smiling. Actually,
She
I
is.
was like,
She likes you. Yeah.
Hi, Belle.
She likes you guys.
Well, so you said the spirit. So do you know whose spirit?
She will not tell me her real
Oh,
name.
really?
She likes Belle, and I didn't give her the name Belle. The girl in Belgium did. Chelsea Elizabeth, beautiful girl, who again just was causing her and her daughter illness. She had to keep Belle in the shed or in a drawer, which Belle, especially the bad spirit in Belle, didn't like, or the good spirit in Belle. But I'm getting that it was a little girl who didn't have a real happy life on her own that kind of came into the doll. I don't know if it's a girl who owned a doll. She won't tell me that much information, but I think she had a very sickly life and died very young, like around 7 or 8.
Why do you think she won't share?
I don't know. I think because
Just-
she wants to be Belle in the doll.
Oh, just
You
Now
know,
that you
just
have
like
this
that new
good energy,
persona.
does this like how this girl felt cursed by this, if that's the right word?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't want to misspeak,
Yeah.
but her hair fell out and had all these problems. Okay, now that there's a good spirit in here, does it bring you luck or bring you good fortune, or does it any positive attributes that
I
you now
probably
have this?
could with the spirit. I haven't working with this kind of spirit. I don't. It's like make me win the lottery. Or, I have different deities. I work with that. I work with dragons for that. Not the.
You should have
lottery.
won
I
last
don't-
week.
I
Yeah,
don't
let's
think-
see.
I'm a weird psychic person that does not believe that our gifts work for lottery, because I think that's not the right use of this gift. I have been given numbers. I've been given clear numbers. I was doing a little mediumship session, and this guy died way too young, leaving a young wife and a young child. And they sat with his iPhone, and they didn't have the code. And this was right about the same time that the FBI was trying to get Apple to get,
yeah.
and they wouldn't do it. They should have used a Ouija board. I got the exact phone. So I
Wow.
can get
Now see, now
numbers.
there's
I
some.
get practical stuff. Where'd we leave the will? Where'd we do this? What was your last words, Grandpa? Finish them off. Practical, but never lottery numbers. I'm sorry for everybody out there.
Well, that sounds like what Martini was doing when he would get a medium would help him get he'd get the exact.
right.
Interesting.
And
Now
that-
that's a good one.
And so, Belle, not to move on a little bit, but I have been told, and I remember when I was a kid, we used to try the Ouija, and especially around Halloween, people like to do séances and Ouijas. Is Ouija risky to use?
What I think,
'Cause I've heard it
it
is.
doesn't have to be. It can be. It's a portal. I do not think it should be sold at toy stores. I do not. It should have. It's a game on it. I think it should. This is not a game. It's a portal. It is because we've empowered it to be. It's a tool. It's a portal, but it's how you use it. It can't. Just
I use
let
it to eat
anybody-
food in bed on.
Well, that's good.
For real. I have that. That's
Do
what
you
I
really?
have. That's, I swear
when
to
you're
God.
waking it up, you don't just go, "Hey, any ghosts out there?" Really? Do you open your front door at your house and go,
Right.
"Anybody come out there? Any crazy person, serial killer. No, you're very specific of who you allow into your home. Be very specific of who you allow into your board, oaking up. When I do, especially this time of year, a lot of seances, only people, good people attached to this, only people of the light, or spirits, or guides, or
That makes
whoever
sense.
I've
that
seen you
is.
knocking like that, literally to summon them by knocking
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
How's that?
That's how
contact
you
done?
wake up a Ouija board. You always have to wake it up and put
Is
it
that
together.
right? You
And
knock on the
again,
Ouija board.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
I'll
I
have to
knock
avoid
a lot.
that.
I use, even when I start ritual, you raise a veil, you ring the chime, yeah.
Ring the chime.
Well, ring the
Interesting.
chime and bells actually because of the frequency. That's
Completely.
how,
That's like literally the science behind it.
Because I remember you were talking last week about frequencies.
Yeah.
And could you explain that a little bit more on how bells and chimes kind of transfer into the other realm?
Right. Well, again, sound is not a tangible thing, the same thing. It goes through. So it both, to lift the veil, you ring in spirits, you ring out with, man, must be in my car.
Well, it's interesting you're doing that again because even in church they ring that
Yeah,
bell.
of course they do. They're all tied together. If you take almost every religion, every belief system, and you change the names a little tiny bit, you find that little truth and below them.
Zeitgeist
Things
tells you that
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, right.
That it completely, like 40 days is a thing. 40 days that's when you die. It's 40 days until that's your transition time. That's a great time to do a dumb supper, a celebration dinner that you say goodbye to their fleshly body. 40 days. Moses was like 40 days in the desert. Christ, 40 days. Noah, 40 days. And
12 is another.
12 is another thing.
Yeah.
All these things, they're actually kind of like geometric science, whatever, but that's too left brain for me. But the sound is the same way. It is a tone. It is a vibration level. Again, vibration is everything. Nothing's solid. We know that from 7th grade science. Nothing's solid. We're not solid. We're moving things. Sound goes through that and can lift the veil, can shut the veil. You have things going on in your house and things are cranky. Everybody should have a little chime, I swear. This can change.
Things are cranky.
This can change.
Things, not the wife. Things in the house.
Things in the house. This could just go through with the right intent.
Oh, wow.
Didn't touch it at all, honest.
What happened there?
Oopsie. Sorry, Belle. Okay, we'll talk about you. No, we don't.
Right.
But again, maybe the sound did it. Who's to
Maybe.
say? She was like,
I was
"Oh,
gonna
that's
say
so
she.
loud." I don't know.
We love you.
But that was funny. So again, but that's basically you could do people do toning with pitching forks. People go do sound baths. Music. Everybody does music. Sexy music. Music to relax. Music to invigorate. It's the vibration.
I wonder how you. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I've thought about this. I don't know how many hundreds of times about music itself. How how it's the transformation from our era back to 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago. How we just watching even babies.
Yeah.
It's very
start
primal.
bouncing. Yeah,
very
like
primal.
They bounce and sway.
In complete rhythm.
Yeah,
you can
and
see
you're-
a
and-
child. It's just natural. It's in us.
And that's why I was like, it's so fascinating to see how it affects us so much.
It's undoubtedly primal like that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We've been having these guys on like Martini and Mark Anthony. We've been him and I are trying to figure out what's really going on over there. And these guys have sort of agreed that it's like we all have a soul,
Like
and
a
it goes
commune.
on to the other side, which is what you're talking about, on the other side of this veil. And that Martini described it as like this is just a play, and then you go backstage and you're up there, and that's your real life, and they call it you're going home. Do you sort of succumb to the same sort of beliefs that we all have a soul and it goes on, and that's who you're contacting when you
Sort of. I use slightly different words, but yes, spirit. I use spirit, soul, heil. Spirit is that spirit, that thing that goes there. Soul is more that human thing with
Okay.
us. The heil is the flesh itself. But yes, I do believe we know nothing can die. Science has proven that it just transforms to whatever. And there's an ancient Phoenician thing that kind of believes like, wherever you kind of died, that's the heaven you went to. And I think that relates to belief system. Like, I believe if somebody wants to go to those pearly gates of heaven in the
They'll see
Christian
it.
belief system, that's what they're going to get. Somebody who, believes in kind of, I'm part of the great consciousness and the great Akashic records. I do believe it's that soul, spirit, whichever word you want to use, that continues in us. Yes. I think that this is kind of school. I do think that we come down here for school. I like it here. You know, I don't want to get so evolved that I don't come back. I don't think.
Well, you say you also a medium, right?
Yeah.
So if you can talk to spirits,
Yeah.
if that's a better word, is that what you're doing? You're
Yeah.
talking to these souls or
I
spirits
talk
from
to
somebody
these-
else.
Yes, I do. And it's interesting. It took me a long time to figure that out. But what I figured out is really there's no time and space on the other side. There is,
Right.
so it's a hard concept for us to sort of get. But past and present and future doesn't mean anything. So, and they can come back. What they like to do when they come back, whether a mediumship session, is what we give them is this humanity, this sense of life. You know, they're fine. They're happy in heaven. Again, not that they become angels. They don't. They're their personality. My favorite saying is big in life, big in death. Rock stars, movie stars, all that are big ghosts. Little banker Bob's a little ghost. You know, okay, we're doing a seance at the bank. They're so boring. But then you're over at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and it's like big happy ghosts, you know, having a party. But yes, they get a little bit higher perspective of things. Some of the petty stuff wears off, like, oh yeah, I know I thought this was bad, but I get that it isn't kind of stuff. But again, and whether they've gone off into the consciousness or their version of heaven or even reincarnated, if they've always done that, that spirit of that person can come back. Because I did that in...
Well, that's what those other guys said,
that
too. They said
spirit
that
can
we all
come back.
they do come back, and they even said that there's soul groups.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
typically they stay together. You believe in that
Yes,
as well? That there's like
completely.
20 or so?
Yes, and that's the same person that you've lost for a lot of years, and then you're sitting in Paris and you run into him again, or the weirdest coincidence
Yes.
of things. That's our soul groups. We travel together, and I think we also change relationships. Somebody who's your wife or husband this time might be your mother, might be your brother. They kind of combine that way too.
Now, wait till Richard Martini finds out that we had a witch on, and she has the same belief system that he has. Because he said the same thing, that sometimes that you could come back, and your wife in a previous incarnation would now be your daughter or
Right.
other. It doesn't matter. You could be two brothers. It was husband and wife, now you're two brothers. It doesn't matter.
And I think that's why some people, like even me with my mother, you know, who's possibly transitioning soon, but I've always been her dad. I mean, I've always, you know, taken care of her, watching after her, making sure she's taken care of. And then, so I'm like, I must have been her father.
That's probably the
Well,
role
that's
you were
interesting that you're
used to.
consciously
Yes.
aware of that now.
Oh, yeah. I'm like,
I mean,
well,
that's
how
a
did this
thing
get
that you don't
switched?
normally think
But
about.
I was always,
That's
even as a kid,
fascinating.
I was watching after her.
Interesting.
Right. And when I do stuff with people, because I do some past life work and stuff too, and you see patterns that we have, whether it's that same person or like, oh, this is why you always pick the wrong guy, or this is why the wrong girl, or this is why you keep, because you did this here and you did this here, and you'd let go of that now if you so desire. It's awareness, like awareness. But yeah, we do get stuck in certain ways, exactly what you said about.
So how do we? Do we go to people like you? Because if we're here to learn, and we didn't learn the first time, the second time, third time, fourth time, I mean, can we go to someone like you and say,
go to
hey,
someone.
I think I need to learn something different because this is not working
Yes,
for me?
exactly. Because again, I see energy, so I will say, okay, you hold it in your left ear, you hold it in your knee. You have knee troubles, don't you? That's because you're afraid of movement, because this happened there. But there's a lot of really good psychics, mediums, intuitives. Shar Margolis is
Right.
one of the best.
Right.
But just know that for every one good and legit one of us, there's 200,000 scam artists.
I was just going to ask you that. What do you think about that? Can you spot that right away?
Oh my God! Yeah, anything that's fear-based, anything
Yeah.
that's control-based, anybody tells you have a curse on you, or it's a family thing, and you'll never, or tries to get
Give
more
me
money off
$100
you.
and I'll get rid of it.
$100 turns into. I had this one beautiful couple. They were well off. They drove up from San Diego. They were 9 months pregnant, happily married. Some psychic on Melrose told them, got $25,000 out of them so far, saying there was a love curse on them. Why? They're happy. They have a child coming. She wanted another $75,000. And they kind of wised up, going, and again, fear-based. If this doesn't happen, your child, but. Anything fear or control-based is running out the door. Luckily, they had the money. They had the way. You know, I, for like $300, went, shit, did it, follow up everything we do. And just, this is what this issue was, really, and nothing to do with that. They got their money back because they were smart and got legal things, but it's horrible. People take advantage. You're going to go to somebody like me because things aren't working right, or you're in a vulnerable place. Anybody who takes advantage of that, just run.
I had a lady one time, I remember, and I kind of got, you know, having a gut. I say always go with your gut.
Yes.
This gut feeling was just like she had been on my show. She was a psychic years and years and years ago. And she just kept, always telling me about everybody she used to read for. And I'm like, well, you read for people. Oh, no. But she just kept not telling about. I'm like, well, I don't know if you were
legit
right or not. I mean, you just keep telling me who you read for, but that doesn't mean anything. And I remember interviewing at Disney for a TV show. And she said afterwards, she goes, oh, my God, if you would have came to me, I could have got you that job. And I was just like, I mean, what you say, it wasn't the way you
But
said.
her father worked there, so that was probably just
Right.
Her father was Roy. No.
Right. But it was just the way she said it. Like, if
Yeah.
you would have paid me,
Yeah.
I would have got you that job instead of. I was just like, something about the way she did it. It
Yeah.
made me just feel.
Again, any that takes away your power, that you should leave any session empowered with real
Right.
solutions.
Is this hard for
how
you
do
then
it.
to deal with
It
this?
kills me because, again, it gives us a bad almost anybody who's got a little hand out there thing, or you're going to do your palm reading for $25. I'm actually so much so that I'm president of the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums. It's a nonprofit out of New York. We're still little because there's no money, no anything there. But if somebody wants to be certified, they are tested, both background checks that they've never been scammed or this or gotten in trouble for things. If they say they're astrologer, they are tested deep on astrology. If they say they're a psychic, they are tested, medium, tested. Again, it's it's a nonprofit. So, but again, we're this big, we're nothing. So look at reviews, look at Yelp.
Did
look
you
at
know
Google.
you had this ability your whole life, or?
When I was 3, I knew that the imaginary friends little kids have were not all imaginary. They gave me real information, just like grandmas before her did that too.
And you think these were spirits that were speaking to you?
These were spirits. And literally at 7 or 8, I did my first séance. I was so attracted to it,
Really?
not in a scary way.
Wow.
I went in my little suburban Long Beach house, no doors, no windows, and my best friend Sherry Jones came up with my first chant, came out of me. And realized I didn't know dead people. So I'm like, well, Marilyn Monroe and John Kennedy, they're dead. This was late 60s. So again, my windowless, lightless room filled with lights and orbs flashing, flying. We screamed and we ran outside. But I was jumping up and down going, it's real, it's real, it's real. We can control this. We can tune into this.
At that
so
age,
therefore,
that's-
I've been a seeker my whole life. That's why it was
Interesting.
tough between that 7 or 8 or even younger. Having religion or God be a dirty word to me, or my thought of it. I'd go by these places and see spirits and people and energy, and I think wasn't until I was 13 and that was in that whole Jesus thing in the late 70s. There was cute Jesus rock bands everywhere, and I asked my friend was going, and it was scarier for me to ask my mom to see if I could go to church on Friday night to hear a Christian rock band than, can I go to an orgy, which probably would have been okay. But Mom said, of course, you could do anything you want. Oh, I could do anything I want.
So when you walk around, you see spirits or whatever walking among us on Earth.
I do.
Really?
But I shut it down. I do not want to be Long Island medium. Well, she's on TV, and they know that she's there. Just let people know she has permission because there's a big camera crew. But I don't. I think that's unethical.
What do you mean you shut it down? When you walk around, you see them, but you don't.
No, I do not want to be in the grocery store going, your mother wants to talk to you.
Oh, I
not
see.
my business. Not
So they're
unless
around
you ask
people,
me.
and
Yes,
you
they're
see them, and
around
you're just
people.
like,
They're
okay.
energy. Yeah. But again, I
You
don't
just
want to live
ignore
in
it,
that
or-
world. No, I shut it down. I'm what you call a hedge witch. This side of the broom. In this world I live.
You say broom or room?
broom.
There's your broom.
See that? I knew it was coming up.
Yeah, my broom. Yeah, it's in the car. It's been very busy lately with that broom.
She also works part time as a maid for Mary Maids out in Moore Park.
There you go.
It looks like it. I show up to do a clearing. I've got I look like Mary Poppins. I've got a broom in my hand. I've got 2 baskets of herbs and oils and things to burn and scrub. It's ridiculous. But it's fun. But it works, whether it's just bad energy or illness or spirits themselves or portals that have been opened. But no, I believe I like to dance the hedge both sides. When I go in this world, when I'm coming to do whatever, I don't want to be bothered by it. You pay your mortgage, you do this. I want to live a regular life, have fun, see people.
And you're able to turn it off?
I am. And then you do
Interesting.
then you cross the broom, literally or figuratively, and in this world, anything can happen. And in that world, you have to really shut down your reasoning. If anybody wants to develop their gifts, which we'll get back around to your original question, you have to shut down, because if you're having a gut feeling or your intuition or I'm feeling this and you try to analyze it, that shuts it down. Just say yes. Just say yes. If you want to analyze it, say you're going to analyze it in 3 hours. Okay, was that really Marilyn Monroe or is that just indigestion? Do it, but in the moment, just kind of say yes, and your gift will get bigger and bigger. I actually give a lot of little ways to do it for free on my website. I have this thing called Witches Brew newsletter every month. And put a glass of water, plain old glass, preferably glass of water by your bed. Water is a conduit. We are 70% water. So charge that water with anything from, I want to talk to dead grandma, to what is the meaning of life, to what outfit should I wear, or show me what I need. All of a sudden, you're giving permission to the universe, or whatever you want to call that other side of the veil, permission to download you while you're asleep. And the dreams you have, or just the downloads, are amazing with a plain old glass of water. And then in the morning, download. Before you get up, don't drink the water. Don't ever drink water.
I was going to say, what do you do with the water afterwards?
You water a plant because it's fertilized, or just top it out. It's a
Wait a
glass of
second.
hot water.
I drink water every single night. What do you mean don't drink water by your bed? Why are you saying
No,
Do
that?
you notice how bad it tastes in the morning?
I know. I never noticed that.
Is
no.
it open or is it not?
No, it's closed.
Okay, well, that's not as bad.
Okay.
But if you had an open glass, it collects emotions, spirits, energies.
Really?
Yeah. Taste it.
It does have
and
a
everybody goes, oh, does it taste
metallic-ish,
stale? It's not.
yeah.
It's collected stuff.
That's interesting. I
So
never
it's
heard
sealed,
that.
it's not so bad. But put your dream water, put it right next to you. And if you have a set time you get up, set your alarm for 10 minutes before you get up. Like, I get up at 7, so 10 to 7 alarm. And before you go, oh, I have to get up. Oh, no, I don't. Just go, okay, whoever, give me clarity, focus, and direction for today. Or go back to sleep. You're still in a different brainwave state. In the 10 minutes when your real alarm goes off, you'll have more clarity, focus, direction, whatever.
Are you putting this out there in the universe, or are you asking a specific spirit for help?
I usually put it out to the universe. I like broad, wide. I again, that's why even in getting with deity and stuff, I don't go my spirit guy Fred and Bob and Ginger. It's like,
Do you think we have spirit guides?
I do.
Because
I see
even
them all
Richard
the time.
Martini, the science-based, he felt that that's exactly what
completely,
we have.
because I see them with people. You know, it's like not everybody's Cleopatra, but you can be.
That's what everybody's like. I was Cleopatra. You too?
Yeah, but
Napoleon.
again, my thought feeling on that, again, we're essences of. Maybe a lot of people have little essences of, like blood drops of her, because again, no time and space. How I came about this is I was told in the 80s that I was Barbara Lamar. I didn't know who that was. It was a silent film star. And I'm like, and I really do start skeptic, because that's why I like it, to prove it. Let me prove it to myself. So I'm like, I don't know who that is. I ran out to a bookstore when they had bookstores, and there is a picture of this person who looked like a typical 20s star, the little short brown hair, the wild face, but my exact handwriting, my exact eyes, my exact life story and a thing. So I
That's interesting.
Yeah. Exactly. Same issues of life.
And who told you? They remind you of
It was a
that?
different psychic.
Another psychic?
They
Interesting.
said, this is who you are. Be out. Came up, however. And I go, okay, well, if I'm this person, I should know where she lived. I drove around the Hollywood Hills, there's billions of houses. I said, this is mine. And all you could see was a red roof. I didn't know it. All of a sudden, the universe is throwing people in front of me, like I'd be at Beechwood Market, somebody going, I collect Barbara Lamar. This name I've never heard, or some guy, an agent who married somebody, this name I had never heard in my life. So one of these guys said, I collect Barbara Lamar pictures. Want to come to my house? I'm sure. So there he was showing pictures, and there she was in front of the only see the roof, 63 whatever, Whitley Drive, in the house. So I remember putting a little note. This is like 20 years ago. And they never called me. But last year I went in the houses for sale. I knew every inch of it.
Really?
So, okay, I'm Barbara Lamar. I'm going to buy it. I know where I lived. I know she was born. She died at 30. I was born exactly 30 years later. And at 30, instead of dying, I came into my power hugely. I just became non-victim. So I'm her. All of a sudden I'm doing a séance. Who shows up? Barbara Lamar. Well, how does that work? But again, to me, it goes back into that essences of. Maybe a lot of people have little bits.
Now, see,
of
both
her.
of these things, both of seeing the house and seeing the guy and this, feels to me like my favorite thing, which is synchronicity.
Yeah.
It feels more like that, too.
It
Or
could
it
be.
certainly plays right in
Again,
there.
it's words or whatever. But yes, I do believe in synchronicity. I believe in But that had to take some contemplation on my part. So she's not just, I'm not her. I didn't take her whole soul, spirit, body on. I've got some of her maybe issues, some of her positives, some of her this, some of her that. The draw to Hollywood. Our houses, we both own houses like 5 minutes from each other.
That's
Little
crazy.
synchronicity things, but it was really shocked to have her right there. It's like, oh.
That's pretty cool.
That
Yeah,
is pretty
it was really cool. And when I was in her house, it was really cool.
Yeah.
One thing I don't know if you know my neurology, but like angel numbers.
111s, 444s.
Well, I consistently for the last 6 months, everywhere, 222.
Ah, that's a good one.
Consistently. I mean, I'll look at the clock. Oh, it's 222. Or my fact on my debit card, the expiration 222, and I was like, a license plate number 22. When you see that?
That's the universe talking to you. And again, it's a nice way to dance. I do a lot left brain, left reasoning, rational, right, intuitive. That's a way for the universe to talk to you and go even deeper with it.
But how do you do that?
Okay. My number is 13. It's that charge number, bad luck, good luck.
Of course it's 13. She's a witch and it's Halloween. Of course your number's 13. I could have told you that.
13th, but
I would have guessed a different one for you, but that's...
That's an angel number. But again, and you get into numerology, but 13, since I was a little kid. I was born on the 13th. That's where it really came from. But it's charge, it's good luck, bad luck. So my whole life, of course it's 13 after the hour. That synchronicities there too. Of course I'm in room 13. I'm the 13th person in line. But all of a sudden, I was... What do you mean it's 12 after the hour? I'm 12th person in line. It's number 12.
So it's off.
And it was off. And I go, okay, if 13 is such a confirmation from the universe, whatever, 12 must be a message. And I thought back, and I was going to get involved in some little project or something that I really hadn't looked into. And I stepped back, and I didn't. And it was literally the universe screaming at me, it's not 13, it's 12. You're not there yet, it's 12. And it went right back to 13. And again, yes, you could do, it's the numbers I'm aware of, but it was so much more than that.
But it's interesting how we do have these things, and you notice the 222. There's something to it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll be
yay.
driving. One day I looked over. I just happened
Because you don't notice 242, you notice 222.
Yeah, and like when you're driving down the street, you usually don't look at a house number, and I look and it's 222, and I'm like,
Exactly.
Right, that's
and
a good
then
one.
2 hours later, there's a car in front of me. The tag was 222, and I'm like.
It's almost synchronicity. It's in
Yeah,
that realm,
and
I would call
what
it.
I do now, I'm like, thank you, Angel. I just don't know what
Yeah.
to say, but I say thank you.
just
But I'm
thank
like,
you.
but what is
So
it?
now
What does it
thank
mean?
you.
But yeah, now
And
what? Now what?
What I just say, add some, why right now? Why did I need this awareness right now? Am I not being conscious of something? Am I being
Right.
overly conscious? Am I going a wrong direction?
Yeah.
Just see why now. Or
That's
thank
good to
you, and what's the meaning?
Okay.
Gotta ask.
I'm just not finishing. I just say
So you
thank
got to
but I'm
ask. I was
not
going to ask you, what do you do? Because I have synchronicities that are so obscure you would never believe it's
Right,
possible.
right.
Seriously, like the word I've only heard it once, and then I turn around and there's a sign with that word on it that can't possibly be. What do I do with that?
Have fun with it, what you do.
Well, I do. I have a ball with it. I think it's
Again,
amazing.
Just see if there's a deeper why. Why would it be? What does that word mean to you? Why is that? If there's a big, greater plan here, which most of us think there is of some sort, though again, I think we
Well,
can
but then it
change
goes away, and I never
and then
see
it
it
comes
again.
back. But so maybe it's in that moment you just had to hear that word or that sound or that. Again, sometimes it's the sound. I do a lot of Heka work, which is Egyptian magic. The sounds we make have an effect on us. So if you're going synchronicity, it's Heka work. That's why people chant. It's not just going la la la. It creates a thing. I do my exercises to relax your head. If you get chatty brain, vowels. Every vowel clears your head. Every sacred word's a vowel.
You
Think
get chatty
about it.
brain over there.
Amen. Om. Hiya. Hiya. Hallelujah. Ya. Ya. It's a vowel. It's 30 seconds of deep breathing. Set your mind, body, spirit. Set your head what you want to do. 30 seconds of deep breathing with any vowel. The chatter will stop. The fog will lift. You need energy. You need that fire energy. It's Z. Zzz. Asking a little kid, what does a B sound like? You'll feel that kundalini, that energy in the base of your spine rise up your spine. Sound. So maybe it's the sound. Maybe it's the visual. Maybe it's...
It's never a sound or anything for me. But it is, I do notice these things, and I notice to me, it's a coincidence that's so astronomical odds I can't stand it. But then I think, what do I do with this? I feel like it feels to me, and I am not somebody that's as into these sort of things, but these synchronicities feel to me so beyond chance that I'm compelled to feel there's more to it.
Yeah. So go.
But I just don't know what to do with it.
Ask.
That's what
Whoever
we're not
you
doing.
ask,
We're not
ask
asking.
your-
Richard might have
If you
said something
wanna
like that too. Ask. Yeah.
Ask above or ask yourself. Ask your inner wisdom. You don't. Whoever you ask, just ask.
So somebody is maybe trying to tell me something.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, before we get, in fact, I'll give you a couple. When I lived in Kansas City, I remember, we always challenge spirit, God, whoever, and I remember several times I'm like, okay, just show me a sign. I mean, how often do you see a white dove? A white dove flies over me.
See,
And I'm like,
That's a good one.
immediately. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and I just started crying. I mean, because it was just very powerful. And then I went to a Christian concert because I love music. I
do
just
too.
love music.
I have Christian station on my
Yeah.
on
So
my radio.
I remember going by myself. Nobody else wanted to go. So after the concert, I walked down. I mean, it was a way down. Nobody around me. And I'm just looking at the stage going, that's what I want to do. I want to do this and that. And I feel this hand on my shoulder. And I look back and this woman had walked, I mean, all the way down. And she wasn't a younger woman. So it was an effort for her. And she said, God loves you.
Wow.
And then just turned around and walked off. And I was just like, didn't have a
I
conversation.
thought there was a dove sitting there, and I was going to say, now that's a good one.
No, but I'm just saying,
No.
people all the time.
And they're led to that, and they don't know why. Yeah, that happens every day.
I've
Magic's
done it.
everywhere.
Tell somebody something that will
You
like.
keep
why
saying
am
the
I
word
telling-
magic. I wonder how
Magic
that
with a K.
ties in, huh?
Magic with a K.
I know that. We went to Josh's thing in Vegas. It was magic with a K. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what would you attribute it as magic?
No, I think I like to romanticize things a little bit because I think that's really part of the whole universal thing. But I like to think of it as magic because magic is that maybe not.
Joshua
completely
Warren said the same thing. He called it magic. Like
magic. It's you can't explain it. You can't rationalize it, and it lifts this energy, lifts the spirits that much.
interesting.
Well, you're on Halloween coming up. You're going to be doing a little stint on Ghost Adventures.
Live.
Yes.
This is going out live for 4
Yeah,
hours.
so
This
tell
is
us
fascinating.
about that.
Yeah, 4 hours live. I'm excited and scared and everything that
Scared?
goes with it. Well, good scared because Zach has created a crazy, crazy haunted museum. He has everything from Charles Manson's teeth to every serial killer thing,
His
bloody
teeth?
thing, Natalie Wood room. A lot of it's really, really morbid. And he's collected the most haunted things from all over the world. I did last year's Halloween special, which but taped regular like a month before and edited, but crazy stuff that was going on. And I was telling him what was going on. This year they're shooting it live, and they're bringing in several different people. And he wants to open. It's called the Dybbuk box, which is considered the most haunted, dark thing in the world. It's a Jewish
nervous
wine
about
cabinet
that?
from the Holocaust. No, I'm excited. A little nervous. Yeah, I am. But
Do we know what's in there?
I don't know. It hasn't been opened. It was buried for a long time. He bought it from somebody who had it buried. Post Malone, the musician Post Malone, touched it a month or so ago. His life went to hell. Like
Really?
almost plane crashes, accidents, this, health, everything, and
You're not
it
nervous.
made national news. Going, ooh, he touched the Dybbuk box. Now Zach wants to open it, so he's bringing
Now,
several.
what a
of us who
great
know what
live
we're
thing. This
doing.
is on Travel Channel.
Travel
It's on
Channel.
Halloween night.
Halloween night, 4 hour live.
This is
my God, I
this
can't
is a neat
wait.
thing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
trailer's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I might be locked in a little trailer again. I don't know. They don't tell you it. They're really good in integrity. No hints, no clues. If I'm going someplace, they just, here's an address, go in. Walk around, tell me what you see, tell me what you feel.
That's nice.
Yeah, I love it. It's always scary
So,
too.
'cause
Just-
some
So
of
they
them-
and
What
then
if
they
I
want to
get-
see what you see
Yeah,
or
what I
feel
see or
because of
feel.
your ability. I see.
Because
That's
some of
awesome.
these stage it.
Oh yeah, I think a lot stage, but
Yeah.
this one doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is
and
great.
it's a show. I mean, it's in its 16th season. It's 10 years, and I know we used to watching it. Who's these big guys in tight t-shirts who run like a little girl? But
Ron.
Tony Sweet.
Hey.
Right. Hey, come on.
But no, but it's because they're 120% committed. It's real. It's legit. They are there. It's that. So that's why the reactions are all like that. But it's 100% real. Sometimes I wish I had a hint. What if I don't get anything? What if I get crickets? But it always works.
Well,
Well,
after
Tony,
how-
we first have a question here about
Yeah.
this skull.
Yeah.
what's his name? Does he have one?
Goldie?
Goldie.
course.
We call it a bone. Actually, in traditional British witchcraft, they call it a bone.
I don't want to upset anybody here, but I noticed this item on the back.
Yeah. He's
Is this a
piggyback
bank
bone. He's
or is
piggyback.
is this where they get in and out?
No, it's
I don't know if this is a doorway or a bank.
It's a portal.
Portal for quarters only.
Because if it's a bank, that's really cool.
No, again, it's just I have other ones at home. I have finer ones and stone ones and crystal ones. But he's my travel around buddy because he's easy
easier.
and light. Because they get really heavy.
I'm sure they
Oh,
do.
but it's also part of that whole thing. I love
is part
skulls.
of-
I've got a giant skull on a stick. I got a lot
I
of them.
just did. I just did a Prince Séance.
Oh,
And
wow.
they gifted me with this beautiful one. Oh my! We had his real close there. We got so much
Oh.
from it. It was great.
Oh, love it. And so after Halloween, does it kind of die down, or you stay pretty busy all the time?
Well, it's getting busier and busier. I have a lot
That's
of
good.
projects in the works. Some of my own stuff. I have a book coming out.
What-
Hopefully
what's
by
the book?
Christmas. It's called Old World Magic for the Modern World. Stuff like
Awesome.
that breathing exercise. So look for that, or just find me.
Is that magic with a K?
Yes.
See?
Thank you. I don't pull rabbits out of the hat, though. I love that kind of magic.
I do too.
love it. I turn into an 8-year-old
Sleight
kid.
of hand, yeah.
How'd they do that?
That's
great.
like, it's like that guy that was on America's Got Talent this year, the card trick guy.
No.
Seriously, one of the best I've ever seen, and he won. He ended up winning.
Is that right?
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, Patti, thank you so much for being here on Truth Be Told. Such a amazing lady, and we're gonna have to maybe do some stuff one of these days. Go
We
to,
really
like,
appreciate you coming by Halloween. I know you're super busy now, and I, after this last hour, I know why.
Well, thank you both for having me. It's an
Seriously.
honor and a pleasure. You guys are
Of
great.
course. All right. Well, everybody, we really appreciate you. Go to our Truth Be Told radio. Or is it radio? I think Truth Be on
Truth Be
YouTube.
Told Radio.
On YouTube, and then follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. You can download our podcast and listen to every 450 some episodes.
That's right. Truth Be Told Worldwide is our website.
All right. Take care, guys. Until next time, we'll see you right here on Truth Be Told.